Come on in, my creeping friends, to Friday, the 13th day of Tracie Fox Creative's Creep on June collaboration. I'm Kimberly of Journal Breeze, and I couldn't be more excited to have you here. Thanks so much, Tracie, for the invitation to host today. I was thrilled when I got Friday the 13th, so I will not disappoint. I have done a lot of prep work in order to make this video as concise as possible. We have dry media and we have wet media. We're going to start with the dry media, and this is basically what you're going to need besides glue and scissors. We have our base. This is day 13 base, and we are also going to use this little saying. We're going to rip it though so it's smaller. And we're going to use this paper. It's going to be the back of something. Let me say that links to all of the digitals and to the calendar for the month of June are in the description box below. I think you probably all know what's going on by now. But in any case, they're there so that you can go to that calendar and you can click on any number and get to the person's website or YouTube channel. All right, and then we're going to use this digital, and we're going to use this digital. And then we'll also use the ephemera, the two small item ephemera digitals that have the bats and various other small things on them. And then the other thing you're going to need is some fabric, muslin colored fabric, and a little dish to hold your glue. And that's about it. So no fancy tools. Should be something that any of you can do. Oh, there's one more thing. Acetate. Okay? I cut mine from a whole sheet of acetate. This isn't the right size. This is what I have left after making 85,000 prototypes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what I've done, as I said, is prep. So I am going to show you what this looks like when it's cut out and what we have to do to prep it. So we're turning, instead of these flaps turning to the inside, we're turning the flaps to the outside. And we're also turning it upside down. So it would be like this, and this would go to the inside, and then you'd have all this pattern showing. But instead, we're turning it around so that this flap forms the bottom, and then we have this flap here and this flap here. And I have printed, for me, for people who use inches, I chose to use an 8x10 fit 2-page size. There's another one coming up that will be an 8x10 not fit 2-page size. But mostly everything I did was 8x10, and the ephemera pieces, I made those even tinier. I think they were set up to 5x7, so there was 2 per page. All right. Now what we're going to do to make this other tab here, I outlined this. I copied this piece. And let me get that. Okay, so I just drew around that, and I put my fold line there, and I just used a piece of leftover paper. I'm using 32 pound weight paper. It's not presentation paper. It's called HP Premium, and it prints beautifully, and the finish is super smooth and really lovely. So it shows the color really well. I printed things out on all different papers, and then I decided, what to go with based on the look that I wanted. But also, this 32 pound paper has a lot of strength. So a lot of times it wins because of the strength. So now I'm going to fold my fold line down. So I hope you're all having fun on this merry month of June doing Creep-On. I've been so busy trying to figure out the prototype for this, which is the last part, is what took me so long to figure out. I'm saving it to the end. It's kind of the coup de grace. I did so many prototypes, people. Oh my gosh. I'll show you a few, just because it's kind of funny. It's like bloopers. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off these edges, these little points, and we're going to glue this on here. And this is going to be on top. This gets glued down, so let's do that now. This is the only one that gets glued down. Okay, and it's going to be covered with some pretty paper. So let me do that. Let me do a little bit of a distressing up here. Oops, I'm kind of getting off screen. Okay, and then I'm going to glue that down, and then that, where's my glue? Here we go. Okay, so there's going to be a tab that goes here, and so it's possible, it's unlikely though based on what we're going to do, but it's possible that you could see inside the pocket. So that's why I'm putting this on there. Okay, and I picked a color that would match the tag. Okay, good. So now we're going to glue. I'm going to use art glitter glue so that it doesn't get any whiter than I want it to be. It's important. This is a very, very tight pocket, and so you don't want anything extra floating over to take up space. Okay, so now we're going to open that up, put that on there. Actually, I think I'm going to cut off this tip, and I'm going to cut this down a little bit. Maybe do just a slight, well, I don't want to lose. I need that to provide full support. So I took off that tip and get it right on that fold line, right on that fold line, okay? Because you need all of the space that you can get. Okay. And then I'm going to do a little bit of distressing there. Once again. And we're good. I'm going to just do a little distressing here. And it's important, I think, for me anyway, to have marked up and bottom, because you know how easy it is to forget that you've actually done something as important as changing the direction. Okay, so that's all the prepping that you need for this side. This side is, in my journal, I'm going to glue this down, all right, so it's not going to ever show. If you want it to show, obviously, but the tag is going to go in here. Okay. And this is going to be the back of the tag. So we'll put that on when we get to that. All right. So now what's my story with the mummy? Why did I pick the mummy? Well, I picked the mummy because I didn't really have an affinity to any of the other characters that were in there, and some were just like, I didn't want to pick Death. So I went with the mummy. And I've grown to really like it. I'm glad I picked it. I did a quick Google to find out what the Mummy's story is, and what came up was something about the Mummy movie. And so basically what I took from it is that the mummy escaped his pyramid in Egypt searching for his beloved. I'm not sure how they got separated, if it was his death or if she's also died. I don't really know, nor does it matter to me. What I care about is having a story to kind of pick things. So the mummy is our main character, and he is searching for his beloved. Now, if she's actually somebody else's bride, forgive me, okay? There really wasn't too many women that I thought could go with the mummy in the kit. And there were witches, and that's not really my thing either. So I picked her. I have this fear she might be Frankenstein's bride. But for my project, she is the mummy's bride-to-be. And that's what we're going to go with, okay? All right. So with that, I'm going to show you the inside, unfinished, but just to know what we're going to work on next. This is what we're going to put on the inside and then decorate. Now, normally, I would say use 8 by 10 fit to page, but for this, to fit in this and to be the right size, you have to do 8 by 10 not fit to page. If you want to have the same thing showing as mine, if you're even going to use the same papers I do, you know, make up your own mind. But this is not the full page size in the first place. So naturally, the inside's going to have to be slightly smaller. And then by doing not fit to page, I even got it to be smaller. So I was able to get more of these people in and provide this scene that I'm going to be adding things to. I like this scene. I think it's great. Okay, so and this is the larger. You can see it's just too big. It's just too big. So I'm going to start to show you the elements that I've cut out. I made this to cut, and I literally put it in here and I drew around it. You can see where my red liner is. So I wanted to get all of this in here, and so I came down. It cuts off a little bit of that, which I fix later, so don't worry about it. And then it comes down here, right on this line, right here, and here, and then up to here, so that this whole part gets cut off. We're going to cut this out of another one to get it to be a different size. We're going to use it, but I need it to be even smaller. And let's see. And then we're also cut out the bottom line and glue vertically in the center. On another one, I cut out the bottom line, which reads, she remembers, wait, is it she? Yeah, she remembers her wedding, but not her name. There's really no reason to have to add it there, but I just thought it was fun. Okay, so with that said, I have to find the one where I'm pointing out the other things you need to cut out. Hold on, I've marked everything to make this easy. Well, okay, so this is at 5 by 7, not fit to frame, where I was able to get this in a smaller size. All right, and you'll see I'm going to use it on the inside here. So let's decorate this inside. So this is the line that says she remembers her wedding, but not her name, and it's got a dark side automatically under here. So I am going to see where it bends. It bends here. It doesn't bend where the line is. So I am going to glue it so it's right there. And I think I have to move it up a little bit because this is what's going to go down here once I've added more stuff. So yeah, that's got to be a little bit shorter. And then it just gives it just a little bit more of a balanced look. So let me see. I use wax paper as my glue base. Okay. So as soon as Tracie invited me and I received the digitals, I started thinking about it, and I knew I had this coin envelope, so that kind of got my mind going. And then I looked through the digitals. I don't even know if I looked through the digitals yet. I think I just was concentrating on what I was going to do. And it didn't take long. I was really worried I wasn't going to come up with something cool enough, because all the makers in this collaboration come up with the coolest things, and I was just really worried I wouldn't. I'm going to try putting this a little bit closer to get that balance. Okay, I hope my head's not in the way, and I hope you can see that. There we go. Okay. Okay. So immediately upon thinking of what it would be, I made a prototype super fast. I didn't want to lose the idea. And there's been a lot going on, so I just thought, wow, just make it, see if it'll work. And then you know that you're not going to be really in a jam later on. So it allows me to relax. Not everybody works that way, but that's how it works for me. I also distress these papers. I use the smoldering, what's it called? The scorching timber. That's what I used. Distressing scorched timber. So that's good. And then this doesn't need one. All right. So that's that. And then I cut out from the actual digital. Okay, but this is the smaller size. This is the full size, not fit to frame, and we're going to use it later. But this is the 8x10, and I'm going to glue this down over here. Our Lady, it says a kiss from her. She's actually, I cut into this area. So if you cut down to here, but again, she's in a smaller piece than not fit to frame. So I'm putting her here, and I'm putting him here. I just want to have a little bit of her there. Okay. It's going to go like that. And then she's going to go like this. I'm going to tuck it in such a way that I don't have to have it hang off the page. There we go. And then this is a surprise, and I'll save that. And then this is going to go down here. Draws them all together. And then I got a special surprise here and something to go in there. All right, so let's quickly glue these things down. Oh, on this picture, in the digital, there's a tab, and I cut out the word tomb from the game digitals. It was the shortest word, and it would fit between those two screws. I'm going to put a little bit of brown on there. It stands out a little bit too much. There we go. Okay. Cute. Yeah, it was really fun. Once I got the main idea, it was really fun until I got to the coup de grace, and that was just mind-bending for me personally. Somebody else it probably would have been not, but for me, it was mind-bending. So I really loved it now that it's over. Yep, now that it's over. Okay, so I want to see if I can get that word tomb in there. Yeah, right like that. And leave it so that the that brown line continues to show. What is causing that to bump up? All right, time for the bone folder. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, so then we're going to glue him. Now you could glue him so he's a pocket, but I'm doing a pocket on this side, so I don't feel I needed to make it a pocket. Now I cut this one up and this one out and these two flat. I had a reason. I don't know what it is. And I want Kiss from her to show up, and it can't go past that page. All right? So like I said, you could leave this open and make it a pocket if you wanted to. All right, so we have the left-hand page basically done. Now, she is going to be a pocket, so I'm going to use glitter glue. Oh, and I cut this to have one little tiny white part so that it would cover up this black part that's on here. Since I made it larger and I don't want it to fall off the page and be exact, I had to augment it a little bit. So if you care, you can do that. And this has to be a very tiny little thread of glue. So don't use a glue stick or anything like that, because it won't give you the space. Well, you can make your tag smaller, but I already made my tag that goes in here smaller, and I didn't want to lose the integrity of the picture. Some of the beautiful ephemera in this kit, oh my goodness, it's so pretty. In fact, my major journal that I'm going to do for this is using a lot of that. Okay, so this is what I chose as the journaling card to go inside of this. So let's make sure it fits. Let's get it ready. Let's move that glue over. And I love, 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 love how just the moon sticks out. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, that is such a pretty page. I know we're doing monsters and creep, but I don't know, these are just such pretty digitals. Okay, and I did back it. Just keep everything skinny. Don't do, I added this bat. That's a bat from the ephemera kit. And so just basically whatever you do, keep it flat. I'm going to give that a chance to dry. But here's the thing. The most fun part, where'd it go? Oh no. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to show you in this one so that you can get the effect before I actually show you. This was my prototype. It's the bigger size. It's fit to pay. It's full size, so it's larger. Woo, woo, woo. Bounces out. Bounces out. I love it. But now that I'm having a tag, it's debatable where I'm going to put the hand. I distressed the back, and here's the front. And I cut them a little bit bigger, I think. No. Okay, so this is from the 8x10. And I don't know if I want him to stick out on top of there, still bounce up when you take the tag out, or should I just have him be up higher in the first place? I have a feeling if he sticks out, it'll be hard to get the tag in because there's not a lot of play. So I think what I'm going to do, I could make it look like he's coming out of the grave. Yeah, but then you don't get that cute effect. I like that effect of the pop-up. And again, I did that pop-up with a lighter weight paper, so we just have to hope that this will work as well. I think it will. Okay, so I'm going to put this in again. Okay, and then okay, so I love the pop-up effect. I'm so sorry we're going to lose that. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to pop up anymore because this will cause it to flatten. But that's life. Okay. At least we can get the... Okay, so it'll be like that. Doesn't really show, does it? Doesn't really show. You know what? I'm gonna take my chances. I'm gonna put it there. Yep. Okay. All right. Cheap and easy pop-up, nothing fancy and glamorous like some of the things that are being made these days. So if you can get it that way, wow, go for it, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the saying, ripped out. It talks about them, for my purposes anyway. And then I'm going to put it, it's got to cover up where my paper's a little short. See where this is a little short? And it's a little short because you can't cut any higher on this. It's to the end of the paper. So, alright, there we go. So it says, with she alone there walked beside me, all in beauty, like a bride, a step serene and stately, all in beauty, all in pride. So he's saying this about her. So I thought that was very fitting. So there we go. So there is our shell. Okay, and a little hand pops out. I'm going to put this in after everything's had a chance to glue really well. So next, we're going to work on the tag. All right? So our tag is going to be made from this. And we're going to use the whole paper, but the tag's going to come from here. Okay, so we're going to use this coin envelope to figure out, we have to add 1/16 to the bottom, and I cut it right below the foot. So 1 inch and 1/16 is going to go down there. So we know that, but right now I'm working on the width. And it can't go over at all. It has to be inside with a little extra room to be able to slide down in there. And I love this too. So I want it to look good on top, and I also want it to fit inside. So I am going to draw okay, so this is where I want the whole face to show though. Well, do I? I don't remember. Let's see. Let me measure the one I've done. Okay, this is the one I've made. This is for the larger version. Oh, and it would fit okay in here. Yeah. Okay. So it can be about this width. That's fine. There's plenty of room there. Okay. But from the feet on down, I've added, because this doesn't go low enough. So let's see what I did. Let's go here. Okay. Yeah, that looks right. Oh, did I already draw it on there? No, that line's on there. Okay, let's just draw. And then down to the foot. Now, past the foot can be drawn in order to glue on it, but you can see it comes even further. And here's the back, which covers up anything you glue on. So for the tag and the hand, it's 8 by 10 fit to page. So I am going to cut this. Let's see. I'm going to cut it inside the line. Oh, that's right. I'm trying to I want to get his hand in. I've just kind of cut his hand. And I am going to go above this double line, which is part of the design, which I like. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go inside. I'm going to go on the outside of the line here. Well, I'll go on the line. But I really like that coffin with the mummy in it. Okay. All right. So let's make sure that's going to fit. With room to spare. Yeah, that's a good amount of room. And see, then this, when these get glued together, this becomes the encasing. And then we're going to put something on top, and I promise you it's not what you're thinking. Nope. 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 Okay, I want to take off some of this pencil mark I put on here. See, his head kind of didn't get included in the drawing. It went into something else. So he's a little flat-headed. Which makes him look even more scary. Okay, so now we're going to... Okay, and this. Now you can see that the tag is so wide it leaves room for embellishing. But you have to keep in mind that there's not a lot of space there. So you got to be careful. Okay, so I went really heavy on the distressing on this. As you can see. And we're also going to splatter it. Okay. Okay. Let me get some more. The other distress ink we're going to be using is hickory smoke. And you will see why. Okay, so now we have to add the bottom. Pick any scrap you want for the bottom. I picked this. And that was just a piece of the back. And then this is going to go on top of it. I also thought this word restless was a good one if I decided I wanted to do a tag for the top. I like the word in terms of how it fits for that. I don't think a tag is really needed, but okay. And then I cut, this is a piece of ephemera that's in a glass dome, right, on a pedestal. So I cut him out instead. And then the bird, I'm sitting him on the hand, and he's chopping away at the guy's chest. Wait a minute. Wait. I got his whole tail on. I want to make sure I do. Okay. Maybe I set him on. What did I do? How did I do that? Okay, let's see. If we put him like that. Now he's got to be... Well, I don't want him to look like a pet. I want him to look like he's pecking. Okay. It's kind of spooky in the middle of the chest, isn't it? Is it? What do you think? That's a pretty important area to be pecking. So maybe I'll just stick him like that. There you go. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, all right. But first, oh, and this is a heart. This guy was in the, it's too big. So that's why I'm not using that. And then if I was using this tag somewhere else where the depth of the pocket wasn't so critical to stay flat, I would put this cutout here, cover up the bird, I mean the mummy in the coffin, and then this would flip open and I would be cutting out the remaining part of the coffin and gluing it there so that you can see the full coffin when it's like that. So I'm going to probably make another tag and put it in my journal so that I can do this because I like the idea. I think it's cute. And I love this moon piece of ephemera, but there was nowhere really to use it. It didn't really fit with my story, so, but I love it. So I'll use that again somewhere else. Okay, so now let's splatter. Let me, oh, I have to put the bottom on before I splatter. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here underneath his feet. And I'm going to blacken the edge. I think it's a little bit too long. Yeah, it's a little bit. I may not have cut it to size, actually. This looks way bigger than an inch and a 16th. Let's see. An inch and a 16th would be there. So, yeah, okay. So let's use this side. Let's make this our side to keep. So let me just draw that in. Okay. Okay. All right, so then we're going to cut this off. Okay. Put that down here. Go do it this way. What looks more like the bottom? I guess this part looks more like the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Go like that. Alright, so now I'm going to use the glue stick for that. Oops, it's open. Alright. Can't forget the splatters before I put on the ephemera. Okay. Alright. Okay. Make sure it's on there straight. Okay. This other one, I used a lighter one. So it looks like it's more an extension of the tag. This one, it looks more like he's on the ground. You know, it doesn't look very straight. I feel like this has got to come down a little bit. Okay, all right. And then I'm going to rip this because it's too wide and it's a little too foo-foo, if you know what I mean. And this will lighten it up quite a bit, so. I've been watching the videos every day. Today is pretty close to my day that I'm making this. Oh, my day is Friday the 13th. I lucked out. I got Friday the 13th. Well, you know that because I'm on, oh my gosh. I'm thinking I'm doing a different video. Okay. Yes. Today is Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I do want to do some more brown on this. You know, it kind of looks like it was burnt. That's not really the look I'm going for. Oh, it blends in. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, and once I get this splatters on, that will make all the difference in the world. Okay, so let's get this down there. Go. See, it kind of covers up the line. I think it looks better that way. And then I get it as straight as I can across. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm still going to darken this though. It's a little bit yellow, that vintage. What is that? Vintage photo. It's too yellow for me. What is this? This is, oh, that's black. Okay, this is gathered twigs. Let's just see if I can get some of the yellow off there. Oh, gosh, it just made it more yellow. Okay, let's see. I don't know if this eraser works on distress ink. It doesn't seem to be. Oh, well. Okay. The splatters will do wonders. Okay, no more vintage photo. Okay. All right, I'm going to splatter, and then we're going to do the back, or glue the back on. All right, I'm going to get my splatter ink. Did I leave it out here? No. Okay. You know what, it must, oh, there, I see it. Okay. Here we go. I had it here all along. I was prepared. Okay. Okay, so, oh, I don't squirt. Oh, I didn't mean to do the coffin. Okay, let me cover the coffin. You gotta aim over here in order to get it. It's weird. Okay. Go, and then there we go. Okay. One more once over. Okay. Maybe twice more. Okay. Oh, okay. Whew, it's always a, you never know if you're going to do too much or too little. Okay. All right, let's put the bird and my little animal. I don't even want to decorate this animal or distress it because I don't want it to get swallowed up. So I think that that little tiny ridge that's around it from when I cut it out of the dome will blend into the background. And then with this, I was able to do a little more cover-up of that line. Seamlessly blending it in was my goal. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay. All right. And then my bird. Okay. bird's going to be. I just want to make sure. What did I decide to do? Oh, what did I decide to do? I don't want his body to be. I don't want him to look like a pal. I really don't. I'm going to move him sitting on a leg. Does that look silly? Oh, this is, I wonder where I had it. I worked at it for a while. And it was pretty cool what I came up with. And now let's see. I guess I can go like that. Yeah, he can sit there like that. Okay, that's good. He's on the elbow. Okay, pretty much. How does that look? Leaves a big gap there, doesn't it? So there might be another piece of ephemera that would go well there, but this can't sit up in the middle of the sky. Oh, I don't really like him there. Darn it, let's see if I can move him. Okay, let's just say I'm just going to have him sitting there. He just needs to fill that space. It still doesn't look good, does it? Darn. Okay, let's put him on again. Okay. How about that? How about he's chopping away like that? Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, a little bit of the tail gets lost, but not much. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, and now the background piece. This is 110-pound paper. And here you have a design, more of a, looks like wood, or it could be some sort of a celestial look. So I'm going to put my guy up there, and I'm going to use this glue because it's going to give me a chance to move it around, and I like it. If it didn't squish so much out the sides, I would use it a lot more. Okay, go like this. There. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to wait for that to dry, and I'm going to take you to the aforementioned coup de grace. So, oops, that's not the right thing. Let me close up my containers. Not sure where that is, so I'll just put that there. Okay, cut this off in a little bit. If I wanted that restless thing, I probably should have gone in between. Yeah, let me see if I can still get that on there. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's make sure that this I'll distress it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you like that restless added? I mean, I think he's restless laying in his tomb. He's waiting for his honey. So, you know. And then this. Oh, I should have put that back there. Well, that doesn't look so bad with that. That's part of his structure, his boniness, so I don't think that's so bad. We'll leave that. Okay. There we go. And then the twigs. Oh, okay. I like that. All right. So as I say, I'm going to put this to dry. And now I'm going to show you. Cut this out in just a little bit. So now you're going to need 2 of these. And by saying 2 of these, I mean 2 full-size fit to page 11 by 8.5. 11 by 8.5. Okay, so I've already drawn what we're going to use. We're going to use this pencil line around here. And then we're going to cut this one out down here. This is a piece of acetate. So acetate, or I even used the berry cartons. If you can find a berry carton that's wide enough and tall enough, then you don't have to have acetate. And then mark up, because I formed the shape by drawing around the base on the acetate. And it's not 100% right angles and all that. So draw it so it goes all the way to the top, all the way to the sides, and all the way to the bottom. And then get a piece of felt, or this is quilt batting, just something with some bounce, and draw around that as well. And also mark that up so that you don't have a problem making them line up. Okay? And then you're going to put this picture on top. And what are you going to do with it? And you're going to fill in. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this guy's body. Well, this is the one I'm cutting. So I'm going to use this guy's lower body to fill in where this picture is, because you don't want this dark picture, because it goes down to here. So this makes the most by doing it on 8.5 by 11 fit to size. It's the biggest shape. It takes up the most amount of space on the acetate. But that's not what you're going to see. No, 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 no. Went a step further. What you're going to see is, where is it? Drum roll, please. Hold on. Okay, so here's the back. Oops, let's give you the full effect. Okay, he's going to be sticking out the top with the restless, and this is what's going to go on top. I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Now, I stitched this together, the paper all the way around the edge, to give it bounce. So there's actually a bounciness to this before I glued on the mummy strips, the bandages. And originally I thought this would look cool until I made the prototype, and I went, no, 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 no. And you could even see through this is from a berry thing. You could see a shine through here. So I added the gesso later, but that didn't really take care of it. And I used different colors of strips, which I now am not doing. Now I'll show you. But this is my first prototype. I also took a berry thing and I tried it out with Mod Podge, glue, plain white glue, watered down. Then I put gesso on first, and I did gesso and Mod Podge, and suddenly there was yellow in there. I don't know exactly where that came from, but it turned yellow. I don't know if it was in my Mod Podge. It is an old container, but there really wasn't yellowing up here, so I don't know, it's fluke probably. And then this is gesso and glue. So you could use a gel medium, you could use glue, but I'm using glue. I'm using a cheap glue. And I mixed it up so that it's about that liquidy. Okay, so it's still, because you're working with fabric, you do on paper, it really does have to have a stickiness to it. So it can't be that watered down. It won't work. And then I turn the edges over and glue those down. So this will be on top of here. And then this is to slide inside. Oops. See, there we go. And it should all work out. Yes. What do you think, guys? Do you like it? Was it worth it to wade through the video and for me to do all the varieties? Oh my gosh, I tried so many things. But ultimately, let me show you. Let me show you the fabrics I ended up thinking were the best. I ended up, this is my batting, but I think felt would work fine. You don't want it to be too thick. But what ended up being the best was, these would be considered cheesecloth of varying densities. This is a cheesecloth. And I used hickory smoke to color it gray instead of leaving it white. The white was stark, and I thought it looked better grayed out. Some are darker than others. Some are laying over darker areas. I liked this skeleton so much by the end of this project, I wanted it to show through. I didn't want to do a solid. I just think it's a cool picture. And you could make it solid, but then, you run the risk. Even if there were strips here, it doesn't look like a mummy. At least doing it over this. And what I ended up doing was focusing on leaving certain areas of the mummy dark, and down here as well. But I put this strip on first, and then this. And then after I'd done the strips that I wanted to cover it, then I went back and I took smaller pieces of what we think of as cheesecloth. This very, very thin gauzy, I'm sure it's probably called gauze too, that I used to fill in the background. Now granted, it also goes over some of the strips of the other material, and this is wadded up intentionally. But having the white background show up, I didn't like that, so I just filled in with little bits. And so it's this gauzy kind of cheesecloth, and then this is, I believe, the next step up, but with the gray. And then I also used this, and this is the third level of cheesecloth. It's still see-through, and it's still gauzy feeling. It's rough. And I also grayed it. I don't know if that gray is still on there or not. And then I cut, the first ones I cut wider strips. Wider. The next one I cut narrower, and they were too narrow. And then I ended up doing a bit of a variety. So I'd say this was the narrowest, and this would be the widest. And sometimes I ripped the middle degree of cheesecloth, and I was able to get these frayed edges. But actually doing the whole thing in frayed edges didn't look good. The whole thing in frayed edges was too much fray, because the mummy doesn't really have fray on it, right? The gauze gives more fray, so you're going to get plenty of fray. So I cut some, I ripped some. Well, that's ripped, that's cut. half is cut, half is ripped. So do a variety, and then you can try them as you go. That's my advice. If you get too much ripping, they end up coming out pretty tiny. You can't rip this gauze whatsoever. This has to be cut and then frayed. This middle gauze, no matter how wide you cut it, it ends up being really skinny when it goes through the weight of the tear. And then this last gauze, which is the sturdiest gauze, it wouldn't rip. That's the gray side, I think. Let's see. Hard to tell. I think, yeah, this is the gray side. So it's kind of intermittent gray. Do you see that? It's not solid. I use the dauber and use the ink. And this was a piece in my cheesecloth that was just very wrinkled and all that. So I thought, well, you know, maybe it would be handy, so I cut it out as is. But mostly you're just going to want to cut, you know, strips and then spread it out or not. I liked the effect of using it kind of rolled up here and here, and I overlapped it there, and there's a little strand there. So you can mush it into these, like how this became like a triangle. I could mush it up, and that made it really a great product. So mostly I used this gauze and then the second one up. It's got more structure. It will rip, but it gets skinny. And I grayed the whites, and I left this the color that it is. And that's how I did it. So given our time, I'm not even going to do it. I think you can, you know, see the consistency of the glue. And that's been sitting overnight. So, and I did stitch very, very close to the edge. After I cut the head out of the paper, I stitched very, very close to the edge. And that's the best way to keep it all together. This goes on top, though. Okay, and then the paper goes on top. So the only other thing I want to point out, so that you're not wondering when you get to it, when you cut this out, let me just show you real quick. I hope you like this. Please let me know. Please comment, subscribe, hit the like button. I really do appreciate it so much, and I'd love, 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 love to hear your feedback. Okay, let's go. Here we are. Okay, and then I cut off this black part. That was my size. Okay, so when you can see, wait a minute, hold on. When you lay this on top, this goes right down to the bottom. So all of this area has to be covered with bone. So what I did, so it would look bony all the way down, is I made another of the same size. And I cut this to be the filler. I tried a prototype where I only use a very close cutout of the whole thing and none of the paper around it, and it just didn't look good. It really didn't. So now you have to use this to fill in here and here. So obviously you're going to cut this off, and this is going to go. I turned mine around so that the white was on the outside and you got more of this on the inside. So let me cut that first. And then I used another piece to go here, but now I'm thinking I'm going to put this like that, and then I'll do another piece there. Because if I do this like that, you can actually, hold on, hold. on. Let's see, I'm going to try something I didn't do last time. I'm going to glue this. Can you see? Exactly to the size. Okay, wait, there's a gray there I want to get rid of. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so then cut this off. Let's see, it's hard to see. Okay. Okay, let's make sure we're still the same size as this. Alright, so I'm going to cut this. Alright. Okay. So now we've filled in here and there, and now I'm going to fill this in. Okay. And I think I'm going to do it, get rid of some of that white. That's a lot of white. Let's see if we can just put this here. Yeah. Okay. I don't really want to show the rib bone or the esophagus. I know this may seem like a ridiculous thing to do, but to me, it just looked better. Let's do this. Oh, I know. I was going to cover this too. Okay. I'm going to go like that. Go like that. Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, you can see. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, you guys. I worked down here. I don't know why. Okay, and then to sort of continue that and make it look like it fits right in. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this off. Okay. Okay. All right. There we go. So this is going to be your guy to cover. You know? And when you've got it covered, you don't really notice that this doesn't make sense. So there you go. So I do really hope that this was worth your while to watch. I didn't get the other tag actually cut out, but you know what we're doing. So this is what it's going to look like with the restless thing at the top. There, that's what it'll look like. I like that. Okay. And then the inside. Oh, and where's that tag? Oh, here we go. Okay. Lots to read. Lots going on to read. Little surprises. This little guy goes down there. Okay. So when you open it up, you don't see the hand. See the bat, the sun. I think, Ramon, this looks to me really good. This is the back of the tag sticking up there. That fits. And then you move this. Ah! All right, you guys, thanks for hanging in with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you loved it. I hope some of you actually make it and I get to see it. And I'd love it if you tag me, Journal Breeze. And I hope to see you again. I'm going to do some more projects for Creep On, so stay tuned to my station and we can share some more fun thoughts together. It's been really fun preparing this for you. I've loved being in this collaboration. This is my second year, and I'm very grateful to Tracie for asking me back and being with you all guys and seeing what you all do. I learn so much. I take notes. I watch and take notes. Take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.